I want to tell you something I've noticed after years of living here. Tourists come to the Philippines and fall in love every single time. The beaches, the people, the energy. They leave saying it's the most beautiful place they've ever seen. And then they don't come back. And I think I know why. I'm walking through BGC right now. People everywhere. Life everywhere. This country has more raw beauty than most places on Earth. And yet, 6 million tourists in 2025. That's what the Philippines is expected to pull in. Thailand, 35 million. Malaysia, 25 million. The Philippines has 7,000 islands, world-class beaches, the most hospitable people I've ever met. And it's getting a fraction of the visitors its neighbors are getting. Something is broken. And I don't think it's the beaches. Let me start where tourists feel it first. Their wallet. I hear it constantly from people coming to visit my wife's family. I thought the Philippines was supposed to be cheap. It used to be. It's not anymore, at least not compared to what you get. Want to fly from Manila to Palawan? You're paying 2, sometimes 3 times what a similar route costs in Vietnam or Thailand. Same goes for mid-range hotels. I've stayed in spots in Cebu that cost more than comparable hotels in Bangkok. And Bangkok had better breakfast. And then there's a death by 1,000 cuts. Terminal fees, ferry surcharges, random add-ons, foreigner prices on menus where they don't even bother hiding it. You leave feeling nickeled and dimed, and that feeling sticks. Now let me talk about something that genuinely frustrates me, because I deal with it every time I pick up family from the airport. NAIA, Ninoy Aquino International Airport, is consistently one of the worst-rated airports in Southeast Asia. Overcrowded, outdated, chaotic the moment you land. My wife's relatives who come from abroad, Europeans, they step off the plane, and the first thing they experience is at airport. First impressions matter, and this one does damage. Cebu's airport is modern, clean. It's a glimpse of what this country can do when it tries. But it's one bright spot in a system that still hasn't caught up. And once you're out of the airport, if you want to walk anywhere, explore like you can in Hanoi or Bangkok. Good luck. Sidewalks are cracked or missing entirely. You're in a Grab or a taxi, which adds cost and kills the spontaneous exploration that makes travel memorable. I want to handle this carefully because the Philippines is genuinely safe in most places. And the people here are among the warmest I've encountered anywhere in the world. But perception is reality in tourism. When a story makes international headlines, a tourist scam at the airport, a foreigner drugged in a bar, it spreads faster than 1,000 beautiful sunset photos. And it doesn't just affect that destination. It affects the whole country's brand. Thailand and Vietnam have their problems too, but their overall brand is safe, smooth, easy. The Philippines hasn't managed to build that same reputation yet. And until it does, cautious travelers, which is most travelers, will pick somewhere else. This is the part that hits closest to home for me. I know foreigners who came here starry-eyed, loved the easy visas, loved the English, loved the people. And after a few years, they left not because they stopped loving it, because life got harder than it needed to be. Healthcare is weak. If something serious happens to you, you're looking at flying out for treatment. Infrastructure headaches pile up, and then they visit Malaysia or Vietnam and realize those places are cheaper, smoother, easier to build a life in. I know couples, 4 men with Filipino wives, who ended up relocating to Malaysia. Better healthcare, better roads, better value. I'm still here. My life is built here. My wife's family is here. I'm not leaving. But I understand the ones who do. And that says something the tourism numbers don't capture. I need to stop and say this, because I don't want this to sound like a takedown. The Philippines has things you cannot manufacture. The people. I have traveled all over the world, Belgium, across Europe, Southeast Asia, and I have never felt as genuinely welcomed as I do walking around here. Not perform hospitality. Real warmth, real curiosity, real kindness, English everywhere, which makes this country more accessible than almost anywhere else in Asia. And the natural beauty, you've seen it, you know, Palawan, Siargao, the Visayas. These aren't tourist brochure exaggerations. They're real. The raw ingredients are there. They've always been there. So why isn't it working? I think it's simpler than people want to admit. The basics aren't fixed. And in tourism, the basics are everything. Fix the airports. Make the first experience of landing here feel welcoming, not exhausting. Make domestic flights affordable. You can't ask people to explore 7,000 islands if getting between them costs a small fortune. Crack down on the scams. Not because crime is overwhelming, it's not, but because one bad story on Reddit destroys 1,000 good ones. Stop the dual pricing. When a foreigner sees a different price just for being foreign, it doesn't feel exotic. It feels like a ripoff. Build basic urban walkability. People explore on foot. That exploration creates memories. Those memories create return visitors and word of mouth. These aren't revolutionary ideas. Thailand figured them out. Vietnam is figuring them out. The Philippines is everything needed to compete and keeps tripping over the same obstacles year after year. Here's where I land. I love this country. My family is here. I walk these streets every day. And that's exactly why it's painful to say out loud. The Philippines is losing a race it should be winning. Not because it lacks beauty. Not because its people aren't exceptional. But because the system around the experience, the airports, the prices, the safety perception, the infrastructure, keeps getting in the way of what this place actually is. And tourists who almost came, or came once, they're not going to wait for it to get fixed. They're going to book Vietnam. I hope that changes. I'm betting on it changing. But hope isn't a tourism strategy. If you're watching this in the Philippines, local or expat, what's your take? What's the one thing you think would move the needle the most? Drop it in the comments. See you in the next one.